Samrambi Vamsi Bhatta Tadastitaha Krsna Vanespani Gopi Gopinatha Stiyastuna Vrindai Tulasi Devai Priye Kesavasacha Krishna Bhakti Paridevi Satya Vachayano Maha Panchatattvamakam Krishnam Bhaktarupa Swarupakam Bhaktatiyaram Bhaktatyam Namni Bhakti Shaktikam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. I first of all offer millions of Dandava pranams unto the lotus feet of my most beloved Gurudev, Nitya Leela Pravishta Om Asto Tarsara Shishimad Srila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. And the same again, millions and millions of times, unto the lotus feet of our beloved Nitya Leela Pravishta Om Asto Tarsara Shishimad Srila Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. And unto all the Vaishnava and Vaishnavi devotees of the Lord, Dandavat pranams. So, we're continuing our study of Dasa Mula, and yesterday we chalked out the structure. We tried to grasp very clearly how this simple ladder is evolving through three aspects of Krishna Tattva, Krishna's Shakti, and Akila Rasamrita Sindhu, three beautiful aspects of Krishna, and then three aspects of the Jeeva, Vivinamsa Tattva itself, and then the Bada Jiva, then the Mukta Jiva, and then the relationship between the two, because the first 8 Mulas are about Sambandha Gyan. So from number 2 to number 8 is about Sambandha Gyan. Sambandha Gyan means relationship. So what is the relationship between the Jiva and Krishna? So this relationship was the ongoing concern of all the sampradayas, from Sankaracharya, then Ramanuja, then Madhvacharya, Nimbaditya, Vishnu Swami. So this relationship, this who is the Jiva and what is his relationship, was the philosophy, the groundwork, you can say, of the philosophy throughout those sampradayas. Sankaracharya, of course, was saying Advaitavad, we are one, Krishna is one, we all are one together. Ramanuja, no, there's a speciality in the oneness. Then Madhvacharya, no, there's a distinction between the two distinct. And then Vishnu Swami, accepting the fact that the Jiva and Krishna are totally distinct, then develops the philosophy of Raganuga Bhakti, but in devotion to Krishna. Krishna is the Ishtadev of Vishnu Swami. This is in the Rudra Sampradaya. And then the Chatushnan, the 4 Kumaras, then this is again more evolved for aspiration to serve the gopis and to consider Radharani as the Ishtadev. So this is Dvait Advait Avad of Nimbaditya. So these philosophies in the Sampradayas are evolving to come to a place of complete reconciliation under the guidance of Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself, when he described the philosophy of Achintya Bheda Abheda Tattva. So this is what's described in the 8th Mula, this reconciliation of the relationship between the Jiva and Krishna. If you read at any time the philosophies of Madhvacharya or Ramanujacharya, they are so much principally dealing with the relationship between Krishna and the Jiva. Madhvacharya and Ramanuja and Vishnu Swami and Nimbaditya, they all followed the philosophy of, it's called Vastu Harinamvad. Vastu means that Krishna is the essential Vastu. There is, it's like an element. there are three essential vastus. This is described in the second chapter of Jaiva Dharma. And a vastu is Krishna in his completeness, and the Jeeva, and also Maya. These are three principal vastus. So the previous sampradayas all understood that that Krishna himself was transforming his energy by himself to create the Jiva. This is called a Vastu Harinamvad. But actually Mahaprabhu, he established Shakti Parinamvad, that it is coming from Krishna's Shakti. Everything is manifesting from Krishna's Shakti, not from himself. There's a big distinction here. So these philosophies were all very much reconciled with this Achintya Bheda Abheda Tattva. This is in the 8th Mula. And then the 9th is what is the Avideya, Shuddha Bhakti. What is the path? How do I practice this? By the performance of Shuddha Bhakti. And then the 10th is Krishna Priti. That love for Krishna is the prayojan. So you see how this beautiful Mula, these 10 Mulas, how they do capsulate the entire philosophy within a jar, it's described. We described yesterday how the whole ocean can be placed just in a single jar. So this Das Mula is extremely helpful for the devotees to have clearly in their minds, so that whenever they're speaking anything, we can always refer to this Das Mula in our meditation, describing Krishna as the Supreme Person, then going further, describing his Shakti. We described yesterday evening something about the glories of the Bhagavatam. Yesterday morning also we described the Bhagavatam's glories. This Amala Purana, and I was describing those 8 gradations through the Bhagavatam that Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati has given, and culminating in Parakya. Before Parakya, it's Swakya. Before Swakya, it's called Mituna, when it's just the potent and the potency. Then before that, it's Purush, just simply the Purush. So I'm going backwards now. And then before the Purush, it's this Kliva, it's called Paramatma realization. Before that is Nirgun realization. Before that is Naistikya, like atheistic. And before that is doubtfulness, Samshaya. So these are progressions throughout the Bhagavatam, and this Dasmula is also showing us a very sublime progression. So the first root truth, before anything else can be addressed, is of course the Praman. What is the Praman? We can even ask each other if a devotee is telling you, oh, you should do like this. And if you don't want to do, you say, where is your Praman? Who said I should do like this? What is your authority? What is your evidence that I should act in this way? And the devotee should have the Shastras on the tip of their tongue. This is why we learn the Shastra. So it doesn't just leave it up to our fertile imagination to think we should do this or do that. This is not good enough. This won't succeed ultimately. Krishna ultimately, he is the Veda himself. It's saying very beautifully in the Bhagavad Gita, Sarvasya kaham hridi sanivisto mataha shmriti jnanam apauranam cha, that from me are coming all remembrance and forgetfulness. Krishna himself is inspiring that remembrance and forgetfulness. So if I'm conversing and close with these Shastras that have come from Sri Krishna, then I'm on track. Then Krishna says further in that very beautiful verse, he said, Vedes char sarvai aham eva vedyo, that I am the knower of the Veda. Vedes char sarvai, and I am the Veda. Aham eva vedyo. He's saying in Bhagavad Gita, this is in the 15th chapter, 15th verse. Very powerful, beautiful verse. And then the last line of this verse is saying, Vedanti Krit, Vedavit, Eva Kaham, that I am the knower of Vedanta, and I am the Vedanta. This is a capsulation of the place in the philosophy that we've actually reached right now. We've come to this place. This is in text 15:15 of Bhagavad Gita. Krishna is saying, I am seated in everyone's heart, and from me come remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. By all the Vedas I am to be known. Indeed, I am the compiler of Vedanta, and I am the knower of the Vedas. So this is the glory of Krishna Tattva. Krishna himself and Krishna Tattva. Throughout the scripture, so the establishment of the Praman is essential. The authority of the Vedic scripture is essential. And we understand that Krishna himself is the embodiment of the Vedic scripture. This is why it's so essential that we fully absorb ourselves in the Shastra. So, yesterday we discussed much of this. So now we will come to the first prameya. We can discuss the praman, and it will be discussed throughout the whole discussion on Das Mula, because we have to keep coming back to what is the praman. What is the praman for Shakti Tattva? What is the praman for Rasa Tattva? What is the praman for Vibhinamsa Tattva, Jeeva Tattva, etc.? All of these pramans have to be constantly spoken about. Krishna is saying in one very beautiful verse here that Bhaktivinoda Thakur is quoting from the Mahabharata. Achintya kalo ye bhav natam stakena yojayet prakritya paramam yakcha tad achintyasya lakshanam. This is from the Bhishma Purana, and it's translated as saying, all transcendental tattvas are beyond material nature. This is why we must be in contact with that soul who has seriously tried to absorb these literatures. We were talking yesterday about our conditioned state. How can something from a conditioned state come to a spiritual state without the injection of mercy from that spiritual personality? This is Guru. We understand that Guru Tattva or Guru Nishta is the foundation, the backbone. So this is similar to the first, or it is the first praman. This praman is based on Guru Tattva. So the translation is that all transcendental tattvas are beyond material nature and are therefore inconceivable. So yesterday we were discussing about Brahman only having the knowledge Shakti, and a couple of the devotees were a little bit bewildered by that. How could illumination not have a form of existence? But the scriptures are describing like this. It doesn't have a physical form. Illumination doesn't have a physical form. Therefore, in the Brahmajyoti, there is no Sat, Shakti. There is no Sandini. There is Chit. And I described that at length last night. But because of our conditioning, we want to try and attempt to use our logic to understand these concepts sometimes. And we always fail. It's not a logical thing. Although it can be explained materially. How can light itself have a substantial, tangible, physical existence? It doesn't have. It has illumination. It's not like Paramatma. Paramatma has Sat and Chit, and Krishna has Sat, Chit, Ananda. So these three energies we'll discuss at length when we discuss Shakti Tattva later on. but it's inconceivable to the conditioned consciousness. This is why constantly we have to be referencing Shastra or referencing that sadhu who has absorbed those Shastra. We want realization of these truths. It's never sufficient for us just to have gyan. The heart will be restless if there is no realization. Realization will be inspired through our practices of seva, our practices of chanting, etc. This will create the tangible link with Guru. He will be pleased when he sees our efforts, our material efforts, it would seem, but those material efforts are focused on pleasing that spiritual personality. Therefore, they are transformed. It's not good enough just to simply read the scripture and to proclaim, yes, I love Guru. Show how you love Guru. It's no good if someone walks around just talking, oh, I love Guru, 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 but they're not actually fulfilling what is Guru's desire, what is his wish. All of us know what is his wish, what is his manobishta. If you don't know what is Srila Gurudev's manobishta, you're not his disciple really at all. All of us know what is his manobishta. Each individual person has a different understanding, perhaps, of that manobishta. Yesterday we discussed the unique qualities of the individual Jeeva. And for each individual Jeeva, Srila Gurudev has inspired a different, not all different, not completely different, but perhaps a different angle of vision or what they have to fulfill. For example, Tungavidya is fulfilling, Gurudev's order to maintain nicely this beautiful temple that we live in. Other people will have been directed in different ways. So that manobishta is a very individual thing. And if Gurudev hasn't directly intimated to us personally, then he has said so many times publicly to others, oh, you should read my books, you should take your Naam seriously, you should reside in Vrindavan as much as you can, etc. He has given these direct, and for those fortunate souls, he has given individual, personal directives. So without this following of Guru, of the Master, then how will we possibly understand these pramayas, these 9 pramayas? It's saying dry arguments are within the jurisdiction of material nature. Dry arguments mean that I'm not linking with the Vedic conclusion. I'm thinking that my extraordinary intelligence or my prowess in the material world is sufficient to give me the ability to understand transcendental topics. It's never. It often will lead us astray. We can even see personally in our own Sangha, I can think of 4 or 5 very brilliant personalities who have been with Gurudev over the last 20 years, and they've all actually left for the same reason, that they began to think that their own intelligence was more than Guru's. They began to minimize the potency and power of the spiritual reality. They put the material, logical, rational conclusions or intelligence higher than they put that spiritual infusion. Guru is giving us something in the heart. I can remember one time when our beloved Shamrani Didi, she was asking Gurudev a question, and Gurudev gave a very elaborate answer. Then immediately she began to ask another question, and Gurudev said, stop! Why are you asking another question? I have just given you the realization of the previous question. Digest it. It's not just about accumulating lots of academic or intellectual understanding at all. It's about the heart of the matter, the soul of the matter. We want vigyan. We want realized knowledge. Even if you know very, very little Tattva Siddhanta, but something, and you're chanting carefully, that power of the name will reveal all these spiritual truths. We know the example of Sankaracharya when he had one disciple who was always cleaning and doing so many material things for him, looking after his body, and he wasn't there in one assembly. And Sankaracharya is waiting for that disciple to appear. And all the other devotees were saying, oh, he doesn't know anything, don't worry. just begin your discourse. But Sankaracharya was waiting for him to return, and when he returned, he asked that disciple to begin to speak Tattva and Siddhanta. And he spoke so eruditely, because Gurudev has that power. He can infuse that within our hearts. Yasya Devi Paradevi Para Bhakti Yato. Yes, this verse, that all the instructions of the Veda can be revealed by the mercy of Sri Guru. So we want his mercy in any way at all, by hook or by crook. I must have his mercy, otherwise I can't maintain my life. Narottam Das Thakur sings so many bhajans about this. So dry arguments are within the jurisdiction of material nature, as they can only be applied to mundane subject matters, of course. They cannot even come close to transcendental tattvas, what to speak of grasping them. So in other words, we can come close to these tattvas, but absorbing them, to actually having vigyan, to actually having knowledge, this will definitely come through practicing Nam, without a doubt. If you chant Nam each day and carefully, and then after your chanting you read even 1 or 2 paragraphs, the heart has been cleared by the power of the Nam, by the power of Krishna, and that knowledge will so much more easily find a place within the heart, that transcendental knowledge. As far as inconceivable conceptions are concerned, the application of dry arguments is undesirable and useless. This is the principle of this first Mula, Praman. The Praman is coming from the spiritual realm. This is the place of the Praman. The Praman has been written by those souls who are called Apurushaya. They are not subject to the 4 defects: Brahm, illusion; Pramad, error or madness; Vipralipsa, this cheating; and Karnapatava, this imperfect senses. So this is the conditioned defect. How can something from a deficient place come to a perfect place? We have to understand this so solidly, because this is the heart of understanding what is the praman, what is the root, or the necessity of the root. So now we will go into this first prameya, and yesterday we discussed about Krishna's qualities. We discussed, or was it last night? I think it was last night, yes. So in this chapter 13 of Jivadharma, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur is describing these qualities of Krishna in relationship to Krishna himself, in relationship to Krishna Tattva. When we think of Krishna, first of all, it's his beauty that is most striking, the beautiful form of the Lord. It's like, for example, Bhaktivinoda Thakur gives the example in this description of a candle again. So when we see a candle, the first aspect of the candle actually is the beauty in the flame. The flame is the first thing that we actually are aware of, and then the light, etc. That beauty. And then from that beauty, these 3 other angas or limbs manifest, which are Krishna's opulences, his fame, his opulence, and his strength. These 3 angas. And then it's described that the effulgence of fame is what makes up these last 2 qualities of Gyan and Vairagya, or knowledge and renunciation. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur describes that knowledge and renunciation are considered attributes of qualities. So this is trying to understand Krishna Tattva. This is the example that Bhaktivinoda Thakur makes in this chapter 13, describing Krishna Tattva. There are so many areas to Krishna Tattva. Basically, we're trying to appreciate how nothing in existence is separate from Krishna. This Advaya Gyan Paratattva. There is nothing in existence that is separate from him. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Mataha Parataram Nanyet Kaschid Asti Dhananjaya. Sarve Mayi, what's that? Mayi Sarvamidam Protam Sutre Manigana Eva. That all these worlds are strung on a thread by me. I am supporting all these worlds. Just give you the exact translation. O conqueror of wealth, there is no truth superior to me. Everything rests upon me as pearls are strung on a thread. So this is the position of Krishna. This is Krishna Tattva. Krishna is also saying, Daiviyeshi gunamayi mamamaya duratyaya mam eviye pavadyante mayam etam parantite. That these three modes of material nature that are coming from me are very difficult to overcome. But only one who has surrendered unto me. Krishna keeps talking about me in this other beautiful Bhagavad Gita verse, because in Bhagavad Gita is so much praman for substantiating Krishna's supremacy, Krishna Tattva. This is necessary in order to surrender to Krishna. It's described that the Bhagavad Gita itself, by itself, will take us to a platform of Sharanagati. Sharanagati is the threshold, the doorway into bhakti. But first of all, we have to understand Sharanagat. We have to be Sharanagat to develop our bhakti. One time Srila Gurudev said that Sharanagati is like simply getting dressed. Every day we have to get dressed to conduct our activities, etc. in the world. So this is just a natural part of life. So similarly, Sharanagati is just the first stage of bhakti. Once we have developed that understanding of what is Sharanagati, then I can begin to absorb that mercy of the Lord. So Sharanagati is the first step. So Bhagavad Gita principally focuses and takes us to that point of Sarvadhamam Parityaja Mamekam Sharanam Braja Aham Tam Sarve Papapyo Mokshayishyami Masucha. That give up everything. This means don't take any, lose all attraction for the material activities, but just simply absorb yourself in me, Krishna is saying. And then all good fortune will come. Don't worry, he says. Masuchaha. So these are, I'm trying to link the Praman with Krishna Tattva to show us the necessity of the Praman in understanding and establishing the first aspect, the first Mula, the first root of this Dasa Mula. So establishing Krishna Tattva is paramount. And then Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur is talking about the different manifestations of Krishna within the world, or within the worlds, within Vaikuntha as his Swamsa avatars, and in this world as his Purusha avatars, Karna Dakshay Vishnu, Garbha Dakshay Vishnu, and Shira Dakshay Vishnu, within the heart of all the Jivas. So we see how Krishna, his potency and his forms are throughout the universes. We see his form here, how he's manifesting all of the universes from the pores of his skin. And then within each universe, Garbha Dakshay Vishnu is again manifesting Lord Brahma. And from Lord Brahma, all of these material worlds are created. And within each entity, with each jiva, with each spirit soul, Krishna is again residing as Shira Dakshay Vishnu. So Krishna is the most famous. He's everywhere. This quality of fame we see in the Lord. So this we must also very much appreciate in understanding this first prameya of Krishna being the supreme truth, the supreme tattva, the absolute tattva. We're going to, of course, understand that this level or this platform of simply absorbing ourselves in Krishna as being the supreme is not the highest conclusion for the sadhak in this age. The sadhak in this age, because the Mahamantra is empowered by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and the philosophy or understanding of what is Raganuga Bhakti it actually goes beyond even this absolute, or seeing Krishna as the absolute reality. The Rasik Vaishnavas, they understand from the teachings of Rupa Goswami and Raghunath Das that actually Sri Radha is the one who is controlling that absolute reality. So this is another stage, another level, so to speak, which we'll come to when we discuss Rasa Tattva. So we see within all of these different truths there are gradations of awareness. First of all, there can be the understanding of Paramatma, of Supersoul. This is a very exalted awareness, but higher than that is the understanding of the Purush himself, the absolute controller, and beyond that there is the absolute controller and his potency. So all of these aspects, don't think that it's just black and white and so definitive. It's all very much evolving through different levels of consciousness and understanding who is the Supreme Reality, what is the Supreme Reality, how is the Supreme Reality, where is the Supreme Reality, in what relationship am I with that Supreme Reality. So this awareness will grow day by day, week by week, etc., according to the effort we place in our bhajan, in our effort to manifest this eternal relationship. This eternal relationship means eternal, it means it's there forever, but it has become covered. We are like in seed form. Within the seed of the Jeeva is the absolute potential to realize a full-blown, sweetest relationship of service to Sri Radha and Krishna. That potential is there. Nitya siddhyasya bhavasya prakritam hiti sadyate. The potential is there, but it hasn't manifested yet. It's in a dormant way, just like we take a seed of a tree. Within that seed is a huge mango tree, so high with so many leaves and the potential to give fruits, etc., etc. So we are like that seed. And by taking the water of the mercy of Guru and the mercy of Shastra and Sadhu, then that is the water that will make that seed flourish and grow through these different stages of consciousness. So understanding Krishna Tattva has many gradations, many stages. We can understand Krishna also as that sweet, sweet Lala of Sri Yashodaji, Mother Yashoda. This is also Krishna. How does that Krishna relate to Dwarkadish Krishna or Mathuresh Krishna or Parthasarthi Krishna? These are all different aspects of Krishna. And our Gurudev has discussed so much these differences of Krishna's pastimes and his different nature or what he is exhibiting. What amount basically of affection and love in each of these different Krishnas, we can say, like Brajendranandan Krishna, Mathuresh Krishna, Dwarkadish Krishna, Parthasarthi. These are such different personalities in the amount of rasa that he will share with his devotees in those leelas. So this is something that the devotees must consider constantly, not just, oh, Krishna Tattva is there, aham sarvasya prabhavo mataharsavam pravatante, I am the controller of, or the manifester of all the material and spiritual worlds. Yes, that is true. Of course that is true. But more than that, more than that, more than that, always more than that. So trying to understand Krishna Tattva in its fullest capacity by the mercy of Guru, we can start to get a much broader picture, because ultimately Krishna is Madana Mohan, but Sri Radha is Madana Mohan Mohini. She is bewildering that Madan Mohan. So this Madan Mohan, who is bewildered by Krishna, who is coming in the form of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, this is like our Ishtadev, who will carry us into that Vrindavan conception. So unless we fully put on the front burner of our practice the principles of Raganuga bhakti, we are denying ourselves the greatest opportunity within billions and billions and billions of years. 8,640,000,000 years. That's how often Chaitanya Mahaprabhu advents. And only when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu advents can this realization be recognized or understood or experienced by the Jiva. Prior to Mahaprabhu, how many, of course, Rag Marg has always been there to some degree, but very, very, very minimal, really. In Satya Yuga, for example, we discussed many times how there are four sublime qualities. There is Samaha. They were beyond the material influence of the three modes of material nature. They were Shantaha, completely peaceful. They were Surit, they were friendly to all living entities. And Niravaha, they were completely unenvious. This was the condition of the souls in Satya Yuga. But what were they able to, what was the potential for their relationship with Krishna? Who were the avatars that descend in Satya Yuga? They are avatars like Vaikuntanath, Yogeshwar, Parameshwaraha, Ishwaraha. These are all Aishwarya type of avatars. So this was the relationship that could be had in Satya Yuga, even though it seems Satya Yuga was so high. What to speak of previous yugas beyond this Divya Yuga, beyond these four yugas that we're in now? What about millions and millions of years ago? This Raganuga Bhakti was not so available at all. Ragmarg Bhakti Loke Karite Prachan. Mahaprabhu is coming to give us this Ragmarg. So each consideration of Krishna Tattva, for us today, we have to take it into Vrindavan. We have to bring that Krishna into Vrindavan. Yes, we understand from Bhagavad Gita the principle of Krishna's Aishwarya, which we described yesterday, is so beautiful to understand and to relish, to be aware fully of his greatness, to be aware that not a blade of grass moves without Krishna's sanction, that every atom in existence contains the Lord. Nothing in existence. Advaya, Gyan, Paratattva. Advaya means this one truth is present everywhere. We can see the rising and the setting of the sun. Who is ordering that? It's described, Yakchakshu Esha Savita Sakala Grahanam Rajasamasta Sutamurti Yashesha Teja. Yes Yagya Matsamata Sambrita Kala Chakra Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. That this sun has unlimited brilliance and power. It is the resort of all the heavenly planets. It's the personified eye of the universe. I bow down unto him, unto whose order the sun is mounting the wheel of time. That Sri Govinda do I worship. This Sri Govinda is that personality who I worship. It's described in the scripture that all the demigods are performing their activities out of fear of that Lord, or out of duty of that Lord. Just like Suryadev, he's performing that orbit daily out of his duty. The rain will fall out of duty. Fire will incinerate out of duty. The wind will blow out of duty. Actually, it's described in the Bhagavatam as fear, because fear and duty are quite similar. Think about it. We do our duty, but actually, very often we're doing our duty because we're fearful of not doing the duty. If we don't do the duty, we will feel there will be some negative thing or some obstacle. So I'm very much doing my duty out of fear. But we want this fear to be dispelled, because in the land of Braj, or the relationship in Braj is fearless. It's without fear. How can the heart fully manifest when there is fear? There's a beautiful verse, Bhayam dvitiya biniveshitam syat isadu vipasya viparya yoshmiti. Tad, what's that? Tad maya tayam buddha tam bhaktiya keksham guru devatama. That this fear, bhayam, dvitiya viniveshitam syat. This fear that we experience in the material world only manifests by our absorption in the material apparent reality or the material illusion. Because of this misconception in this world, fear is there. But for the spirit soul, in his ultimate relationship with Sri Krishna in Vrindavan, there can be no even scent of fear. Only just how to please Krishna, how to make him more happy, how can I serve him more fully. This is my life soul energy. Every particle of my being is simply focused on pleasing that Supreme Personality. This, for the sadhak, as we discussed yesterday, is the most wonderful contemplation. And we were saying in contradiction to that, how unfortunate is that soul who doesn't have the ability or the humility to worship, to serve. Nanda Baba, he's serving Krishna. Yashoda is serving Krishna. All the cowherd boys are serving. And Krishna, in his sense, his way, he is serving them. Krishna will carry the shoes of Nanda Baba on his head. He will make Yashoda, Mother Yashoda, laugh. He will perform, wrestling match with Balaram to make all the other elderly gopis in the village laugh. He will do so many things to please his devotees. So this reciprocation of service, of bringing pleasure, Krishna also loves that. We see as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he exemplifies that in his service to Sri Radha. He wants to experience himself what are those moods that his divine Sri Radha was experiencing in those separation times, or when Krishna left and went to Dwarka. So these are some understandings of what is Krishna Tattva and the praman that supports our understanding of this. Throughout my Gurudev's teachings, from the very beginning, he tried to demonstrate constantly the differences between Krishna. The differences between Krishna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra and the difference between Krishna in Mathura. In Mathura, Krishna often had 4 arms. In Dwarka, he also had 4 arms. When the gopis saw that 4-armed form, they didn't even acknowledge it as being Krishna practically. They were only concerned to see the 2-armed form. So these different personalities within that same tattva of Krishna. So we're understanding in any discussion of Krishna, there are always 2 distinct levels. There is Krishna Tattva and there is Rasa Tattva. So these 2 distinct levels in all of our discussion. So the devotees have to really be broad-minded, because constantly we have to reconcile these 2 sometimes opposing conceptions. It's like our Gurudev, he came to tell us, oh, your Prabhupada, he came to tell you that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Yes, this is Krishna Tattva. But he says, I am coming to tell you that he's not. Because in Vrindavan, he's not the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Sridham, he can defeat him. Subal, he can defeat him in wrestling. He's fighting with him. All the gopis, all the time, defeat Krishna. They embarrass him, or they cheat him, or they steal his flute. They do so many things to demonstrate their control by their love of Krishna. Krishna is controlled by love. He's defeated by love. Love is supreme in the spiritual reality. So this understanding of this love is described as Rasa Tattva. And we'll discuss that in a couple of days when we come to that subject matter. But these are just some aspects to understand Krishna as being the Supreme Tattva, as well as the fact that he's not. So both of these truths must be understood simultaneously by the devotees, and only by absorbing ourselves in Nam and Seva to Guru, to please Guru, to invoke the mercy of Nam, the mercy of Guru, can we in any way begin to comprehend these transcendental subject matters from the conditioned place. We're coming from a conditioned place. Our souls are pure, but our mentality and consciousness has become conditioned by association with the material energy. We have been associating with the material energy for billions and billions of births. And due to that association, just like water, when it associates with ice-cold environment, it becomes different, it changes. It's called nishag. It takes a different form. That different form becomes ice. It would appear that it's totally different to liquid. Ice is a static substance. Liquid is a flowing substance. They're completely different, it would seem. But this is only in the external aspect. The ice can never lose its swadharma, its nature of liquidity. Similarly, we as conditioned souls can never ever lose our spiritual identity. It's not possible for us to lose that unless we deliberately fry it, like we described yesterday, the serious impersonalist, or the Buddhist as they are called today. The Buddhist who is actually annihilating his very nature, his very soul. He's cooking his identity. His identity is made up of his desire. And we described last night how in that place, in the Brahmajyoti, if that impersonalist reaches that Brahmajyoti, he'll remain there forever because his desire has been cooked. It's like a seed that's fried. There's no longer any desire. If there's no desire in your heart, you won't do anything. You don't even desire to walk. You don't even desire to eat, breathe, do anything. You're just like a zero. This is the condition when the desire has been cooked. So that's a tragic condition. So the devotee should understand that deeply and not condemn those individuals, but try always to purify with the light of Shastra. Yesterday, was it in the morning, I was describing the 9 similarities. It was in the morning, okay. So I won't do it again. Those 9 similarities between the Jeeva and Krishna, how it seems that we're the same. This Gyan Sarup, Nata Sarup, Bhaktri Sarup, Mantri Sarup, Ketra Gyan, Swaprakash, Paraprakash, Ichamai. You remember these? We discussed yesterday. Very nice to know those. Gyan Swarup. I have knowledge and Krishna has knowledge. Gyan Swarup. Nata Swarup. J-N-A-T-A. Nata. I can become a knower and Krishna is a knower. It seems like we're the same. Bhaktri Swarup. I am an enjoyer, Krishna is an enjoyer. It seems to be the same. Mantri Swarup. I accept and reject. Krishna also accepts and rejects. Ketra Gyan. I am the knower of my field of activity, Ketra. Krishna is the knower of all fields of activity. Ichamai. I desire, Krishna desires. Swa Prakash. I have light. Swa, own. Prakash is light. I have illumination. I have an aura. A clairvoyant can see your auras. And Para Prakash. I have the ability to give light to others. So these are 9 similarities, it would seem, between Krishna and the Jeeva. But the reconciliation of Achintya Bheda Abheda reconciles that conclusively, that yes, I am one with Krishna, and yet I'm different, principally in quantity. I have these in minute form. Yeah, as described. I think it's in the 14th, 15th chapter. These. I don't know whether they're all there. I think they are. But if you meet a Mayavad, or if you meet someone who says he's God, you say, yes, you're God. But you're only a tiny, 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 tiny little God. if you want to just dwell on that and deny the relationship with the Lord. Actually, even when we hear the word God, that's something of a very impersonal name. God doesn't mean anything. It's like if I say to you tree or river or mountain. Where's the personality in that? So most of the religious groups in the world, they refer to this person as God. Or even if you say Ishvara, it's a little more personal, at least he has a name. But still it's like a big controller, but it's not anything really personalized about it. So these differentiations between Krishna's nature and his characters, they all have beautiful names for them, like Radha Raman, Radha Binod Bihari, Radha Gopinath, Radha Kant, Radha Gokulananda, etc., etc. So many, Radha Damodar, so many different names, all denoting different personal pastimes. But if we just say God, it's like it's like saying tree instead of... Yes, G-O-D, generator, what is it? Operator and destroyer. Yes, Gurudev is so beautiful. So he made that word personal. Generator, operator, and destroyer, like Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva. Three personalities all in one. That's true. I never understood that like the way you just said it. Yeah, that's beautiful. But nevertheless, when the materialist talks about God, he doesn't usually have any personal conception. So understanding Krishna Tattva is very important to appreciate who is the personality of Krishna. What is his... Even just we say Krishna Tattva. What is Krishna Tattva? Krishna Tattva is so extensive in the descriptions of his different natures and characteristics, etc. So this is a very sweet meditation for the devotees. So if everyone's understood all this, we'll go on to Krishna Shakti. Does anyone have any question about... Adam, do you understand something? What? Really? That's good. That's good. That's good. That's good. Krishna has different facets. Personal, more personal, most personal. It's like even in Bhagavad Gita, there are 4 gradations of realization. There is Guyam, confidential knowledge. The first knowledge in Bhagavad Gita is that I'm not the body, I'm the soul. Then there's Guyata. I think the next one's called Guyata. This is that the super soul, Ishvara Sarva Bhutanam Hridesho Arjuna Tishtati, that there is the super soul, that Krishna is the super soul. And then beyond that there is Guyatatam. This is meaning that Krishna is a person outside of just being the super soul. And then finally Sarva Guyatatam, that Krishna is that person who has relationships, Manmana Bhava Mad Bhakto. He has relationships in Vrindavan. So these gradations also throughout the Bhagavad Gita. So these gradations have to be, of course, illuminated by Guru for us to appreciate these differences. And of course the final conclusion, according to the most Rasikacharya, Srila Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur, is Aradayo Bhagavan Rijesha Tanayas Taddama Vrindavanam. This is Krishna. This Tanayas Taddama Vrindavanam. Ramya Kachit Upasana Vraja Vadur Vagena Bhakavate. That he is, alone is worshipped by the gopis, but this Brajendranandan is the highest conception of Krishna. So these are some thoughts, and there are so many other aspects of Krishna Tattva that we can meditate on, but these are some principal points. Sajjan Maharaj is asking about Jiva Goswami presenting 3 objections to this oneness with Krishna. I gave a whole class on this some time ago here, but just in very brief. The first doubt is called Swajatiya, that Swajatiya Bade, that Krishna has differences in his own form. His hands are different from his body. His feet are different from his hands. Even his own limbs are different. There is a difference there. So it's not all one, because he has hands and that's different from his body. There is difference within the body of Krishna himself. So, but this form is purified through the verse of Brahma Samhita. Angani yasya sakalendriya vrittimanti pashyanti panti kalayam chiryam chiranti ananda chinmaya sadujvala vigrahasya govindam adi purusham tamaham bhajami. This is saying that all of Krishna's limbs are non-different to each other. In other words, so there is no difference in the body of Krishna at all. It is all one. Every part of his body is Krishna. He can eat with his eyes. He can drink with his feet. He has all his senses are completely interchangeable in all parts of his body. This is the Tattva that Jiva Goswami presents. And then the second objection is Sajatiya, that Krishna has many incarnations, and each of those incarnations appear to be very different. Sajatiya. The first was Sva. The second is Sa. Sva means own, so Swajat, it's Krishna's own body. This Sajatiya, Jat means caste or type. So Sajatiya, the same type. So all of the different avatars, the Swamsa avatars, they are quite different in their pastimes and their relationships. Varahadev, Nrsimha, Kalki, Matsya, Kurma, Parashuram, Balaram, Buddha, Kalki, etc. They all are quite different in their activities. So there is difference here in Krishna. So how can it all be one when there is this difference? So he reconciles again from Brahma Samhita, Advaita Machuta Manadi Ananta Rupam, Atyam Purana, Risham Navayovanam Cha, Vedeshu Durlabha Madulabha Bhakta Bhakto, Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. I didn't say the verse very clearly, but I can't remember clearly. But this is saying basically that Krishna is just like the moon. The moon we saw the other day was full, and today it's not quite full. But does that mean where has the full moon gone? Has it gone somewhere else? The moon is always full, but we only perceive certain sections of it. There are 16 stages to the moon each day, each month. 16 phases, and each phase looks a little different. But it doesn't mean that the moon itself is different. Similarly, Brajendranandan appears differently in different avatars, but still, Nrsimhadev, for example, is still Brajendranandan Shri Krishna. He is still that person, but he's only exhibiting, for example, just Viraras. Or the other, Matsya, he's actually described as exhibiting Vibhats, which is disgust. Because the 5 principal rasas, Shanta, Dasya, Sakya, Vatsalya, Madhurya, and the 7 Gona rasas, this Hasya, Rodra, Adbhuta, Karuna, you're supposed to come in one. Vira, that's 5. Bhayam, 6. Bibats, 7. I said them all. Wow. So these 7 Gona rasas, or secondary rasas, they also have, they're also brought out within the avatars. The avatars, they take on those different Gona rasas also. But it's still Krishna. It's Krishna, the embodiment of that particular Gonaras, manifests as a form. So there is no difference. So Sajatiya. So it's all one. It's all Brajendra Nandan Krishna. We should understand also that Krishna is saying in Srimad Bhagavatam, one of the Chatushlokis, is Aham evasam evagre. I was the only existing fact before there was anything in existence. And after after all existence ceases, there will still be I. In other words, Krishna is the sole embodiment of everything. And then the third objection is vijatiya, that like Maya appears to have a separate existence to Krishna. And this is answered, I've forgotten the Brahma Samhita code for this, if there is one. But Jeeva Goswami reconciles this Ved, this difference, with the understanding that if two things are from the same source, if the potency of Maya has come from Krishna, then ultimately there's no conflict between the two. Maya has her origin in Krishna, so ultimately there's no conflict. Conflict arises in the Jiva when he tries to go against his nature. A struggle will come. He cannot ultimately go against his nature. He'll commit suicide or something like that, which is against his nature in a sense, but he can't ultimately, because he's going to suffer. The swarup of the jiva can't be influenced to be against Krishna, so he can't go against that, his absolute nature. He can try to deny his nature of being a servant of God, a servant of Krishna. He can deny that, but he can't actually go against his swarup. So ultimately, these two apparent differences of Maya and Krishna are reconciled by understanding that anything that is coming from the same source is not in conflict, is not separate from that. It only comes in conflict when the jiva tries to go away from his swarup. And even then he can't actually go away. He just creates a suffering condition for himself, is all he does. He doesn't actually go anywhere except to hell. Do you understand? Fully! Wow! That's great. That's great. Great. Okay, so those are those three. Abeda, Abed, Rohita. Those differences are reconciled by Jiva Goswami personally. So this is in a very, very nutshell presentation of this Advaya Gyan Paratattva. Jai. Krishna Tattva ki Jai. So these are some points about Krishna. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur in this 13th chapter on Krishna Tattva, then of course he enumerates Krishna's 64 qualities and explains how 50 of these qualities partially are manifest in the jiva and 55 are manifest in some of the jiva, the devatas. Not all the devatas have 55 qualities to a partial degree. Lord Shiva has the most 55 qualities, then Lord Brahma, and then the other presiding devatas like Surya Dev, Vayu Dev, Agni Dev, Indra, they have more of those qualities. And then Lord Narayan in Vaikuntha has 60 qualities. I'll just read those extra 5 qualities. It's nice to hear, because Yashoda asked a nice question about this yesterday. Krishna, Lord Narayan, has 5 qualities. That he possesses inconceivable potencies. Number 57, innumerable universes are situated within his body. He is the original cause or seed of all avatars. He awards mukti to those whom he kills, and he attracts even those who are Atmarama, satisfied within the self. So these 5 qualities are what Lord Narayan has, that the Devatas don't have. Then of course, Krishna in Goloka Vrindavan, he has Prem Madhuri, Rup Madhuri, Leela Madhuri, and Venu Madhuri. These 4 blissful qualities of his beauty, his flute, attractive flute, his pastimes, and his most attractive form. So these are the qualities principally of Krishna that we can read in the 13th chapter. Okay, I'll stop now because I don't want to begin on Shakti Tattva. At this point, I would rather just spend the whole class on Shakti Tattva. Does anyone have any point to? Inert matter, she's asking what are the differences between the Jeeva and inert matter. If Krishna is within inert matter also, his potency is within inert matter. But inert matter is the inferior energy, and it doesn't have independence. This is the principal difference. Krishna has granted independence to the Jeeva. This is an amazing jewel, and this we will go into at length when we discuss Jeeva Tattva in a couple of days. In a couple of days from now, we're going to study together Jeeva Tattva, and this will be brought up many, many times. The Jiva has independence. This is why we are here. We chose to come here. Whether it was an easy choice or not an easy choice, still by our independence. This table didn't choose to come here. This is made of dead matter. It's made of wood that is now has no soul inside. This table has no consciousness at all. A tree has consciousness, of course. It's achadita chetana. It's the lowest type of stunted consciousness. But this table has no consciousness. So that is the difference. Krishna is still manifest. This is still Krishna's energy. But it's his inert energy. His inferior energy. But it's still his energy.
Means that the time that he is in each atom is different?
No, he is still in the atoms of his material energy, but it's not acting in an independent way. Krishna's presence is in this table in the form of his inert energy, or his achit energy. It's not conscious. In the form of any living entity, a tree, a bush, a flower, it has consciousness. However low, if it has consciousness, then it is symptomatic of being a jiva. And with that consciousness comes independence. This is Krishna's kindness. This independence has got us into trouble. But nevertheless, without our independence, we don't exist. You understand a little bit? When we come to Jiva Tattva, you will understand this much more clearly when you have the whole background. You need to have more background to appreciate.
Like the sequence 2, shown that is in the atom also?
No, it's not manifested in the same way. No, it's not like Paramatma is within this table.
Only in the Jiva.
Only in the Jiva, yes.
This is the consciousness.
This is what?
The consciousness.
This creates consciousness, yes. Yes. Krishna is present there. What would be the value of Krishna's presence inside the table? The table doesn't have to make any sort of conscious decision about anything, or any inert matter. I'm just talking about the table as if, referring to any inert matter. It's described that sometimes the jivas are embodied in stone. Sometimes a jiva will be trapped in stone. Sometimes a jiva can be trapped in some material object. And there's a jiva inside, and inside that jiva is the supersoul. But that jiva hasn't manifested yet. But it doesn't mean that the external aspect of the stone is animate, has consciousness, but there is a jiva within the stone. Somebody may have this doubt that, oh, I've heard that there are jivas in stones. Yes, there are jivas embodied, trapped in stones, waiting to emerge in this manifest universe at some point in time. But they're in. There's two words. So there's two entities. There's in and stone. Stone is the inert matter, and in is the jiva, inside. Yes. Subjective Evolution of Consciousness by Srila Bhakti Rakshakshira Maharaj. Huh? He explains it in that book. Very beautiful book. So the jiva is trapped in there. But the distinction between the jiva and inert matter is a subject of great wonder and discussion, and that is his independence. You had a question? 9. Oh, 8 stages of understanding through the Bhagavatam. Swakiya is Krishna's marital relationship. She's asking, what are those 8 stages through the Bhagavatam? I'm repeating it because you can't hear what you say on the recording. So, she's described that there is the doubtfulness, atheistic, nirgun, Nuta, Paramatma, then Purush, and then there are 3 more stages of relationship, Krishna and his potency. The first or lowest is called Mituna, and that is the relationship between, for example, Narayan and Lakshmi. They're not married. It's a different sort of relationship. And then there is Swakiya, that relationship in Dwarka. Swa means own. Where in a marital relationship, you claim the partner. The husband will claim the wife, and the wife will claim the partner. There's a boundary of some sort there, a social boundary, which is absolutely essential in this world. But in the topmost spiritual conception, that boundary is broken, because love is so much more powerful than even a boundary. So that parakiya, para means other, so that other lover is there in Krishna's highest pastimes. What is topmost in the spiritual world is bottommost here. It's like the tree being reflected in a pond. It seems that what is at the top in outside is actually at the bottom in the reflection. So what is at the bottom in this world is this parakiya in this world. This paramour relationship is abominable in this world. This has no place at all in social behavior or in any behavior. This is just complete unbridled senses wanting to enjoy, which will just take us into hell or a hellish condition of circumstances in every single time. And we see in this world, most people are suffering like crazy. When you break that family tradition, the children are left without the proper parents, etc. So much hell and mess ensues in that situation. So these are the 8 stages through the Bhagavatam. Thank you for that question. I love talking about that topic of Bhagavatam. No. That's in one essay called Raising the Divine Temple of the Bhagavat, which is just on bvtridandi.com's website by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. Okay? You had a question, Ishwan?
Yeah, you were speaking about the Jeeva, and when the Jeeva is Paramatma, and then I thought about it.
Yes, they are too. No, I never said that Paramatma was. Did I say that? Incorrect. Okay, big correction. There is the Jiva and there is Paramatma, 2 distinct souls, just like 2 birds sitting in the branch of a tree, completely separate. The Jiva and Paramatma are separate. But it seems that the Paramatma is within the body of the Jiva. This is what I think I meant to say at that time. Paramatma is within my body and my individual Swarup. Jiva is within my body. if I can claim my body for a second. Very good. Perfect explanation. Paramatma can be in here, but there's no Jeeva inside the table. Unless there's a Jeeva accompanying Paramatma, then there's no entity. It's just Paramatma, which by itself is something.
You said that the Paramatma creates the consciousness.
No. Paramatma inspires the consciousness towards Krishna, but the Jiva always has independence. Paramatma is there, like a witness, antaryami, never checking our independent nature. He'll never tell you to do this or do that. Just like Guru will not interfere with your independent nature ultimately.
That's why the inner master has not consciousness.
Because it doesn't have a jiva inside it.
Need Jeeva for...
Yes.
And how...
Antaryami, Paramatma, is simply like a witness. It's witnessing the activities of the jiva. Paramatma's energy is there inside this inert matter, but there's no jiva to make it alive. There's no life to it. There's no material life to it. I'll read it. Jai Shila Gurudev ki jai, Shila Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki jai, Dasa Mula Tattva ki jai, Ananta Gaudiya Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Gold Premanandi, Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna. Oh, there'll be no class this evening. So much noise by all the workmen, and I find it personally easy just to do one class a day at the moment. So I'm just going to be we'll try and cover it all. So we've done one prameya and we've done the praman. So we have 8 prameyas left to do. Every morning, 8 o'clock till 9:30. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaura Hari Bol. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva. Sachinandana Gaurahari ki jai, Shri Radha Gopinath Ju ki jai, Srila Gurudev ki jai, Rupanuga Guru Varga ki jai, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki jai, Das Mula ki jai, Gopinath Bhavan ki jai, Gaur Premanandi, Hari Hari Bol. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha, Kripa Sindhaveva cha, Patitanam Pavanibhyo, Vaishnava Namo.